Good morning, brothers and sisters. Jim Beckwith reporting here at End Times Prophecy News. Well, this will be a conglomeration of many news, but we're going to start off with this epic Trump breaks the internet after he tweets a picture of Obama scaling Trump Tower with binoculars. Why did I put this one first? It is very important. Trump, please never stop tweeting. The president broke the internet on Thursday night after he tweeted a picture of Barack Obama scaling Trump Tower while holding binoculars. Remember this one? Trump tweeted the photo without a caption. Why? Very important as well. You see, what Trump is showing you that through the court ruling 2 FISA warrants were done illegally, and we know that Barack Obama is the one who ordered it. He's busted now, and he knows all about it. President Trump's tweet is most likely in response to the big breaking news out of the FISA Court earlier today. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court admitted in a secret order that at least 2 of the spy warrants against Carter Page were not lawfully authorized, compromising most of the Robert Mueller's investigation for indictments and convictions. Presiding FISA Judge James Boasberg wrote in a January 7th order, which was not declassified and released until Thursday, that the last 2 FISA warrants on Carter Page, dated April 7th and June 29, 2017, were not valid. I don't believe this will be the end of those rulings of these FISA warrants and spying being ruled illegally. I don't believe it's the end at all. There's going to be more. Obama's corrupt FBI was spying on President Trump's campaign and indeed had Trump's wires tapped. A FISA warrant gives the FBI the ability to spy on people separated by 2 degrees from the subject of the warrant. Pardon me. The FISA warrants obtained on Carter Page were used to spy on Donald Trump, and spying continued after he was sworn into office. Barack Obama knew all about the spying and likely micromanaged the operation, but most of all, he's the one who ordered it. We have lots of great news as the impeachment trials continue. Schiff Pelosi repeatedly lied as corrupt DOJ was spying on Trump administration with bogus FISA warrants. It is the greatest political scandal in U.S. history. As Christina Lele reported earlier today, the FISC admitted in a secret order that at least 2 of the spy warrants against Carter Page were not lawfully authorized. Presiding FISA Judge James Boasberg wrote in a January 7th order, which was not declassified and released until Thursday, that the last 2 FISA warrants on Carter Page, dated April 7th and June 29th, both 17, were not valid. The June 2017 FISA warrant was signed by former DAG Rod Rosenstein and former Deputy Director of the FBI Andrew McCabe. Rosenstein signed the June 2017 FISA warrant a month after he wrote the memo authorizing the appointment of a special counsel, Robert Mueller. And 20 pages of the FISA application are still redacted. The Republican Party tonight accused serial liar Adam Schiff and Speaker Pelosi of going along with this criminal conduct. A new report in the Wall Street Journal reveals that the Department of Justice admitted to the FISA court is predicate for continuing to spy on a Trump campaign official was insufficient. In other words, the FBI conned the court in order to illegally spy on an American citizen. Last month's shocking IG report revealed that the FBI doctored evidence, relied on the Steele dossier despite knowing it was false, and lied to the FISA court in order to spy on the Trump campaign. In 2018, Devin Nunes and Adam Schiff had access to the same information about this alarming corruption at the FBI, but instead of joining Nunes in exposing the corruption, Schiff tried to cover it up even more. Schiff lied to the country and released a counter memo chock full of lies in order to attack Nunes, cover up the FBI's misconduct, and keep his own feverish Russia conspiracy theories alive. Our extensive review of the initial FISA application and 3 subsequent renewals failed to uncover any evidence of illegal, unethical, or unprofessional behavior by law enforcement. Schiff wrote, the FBI acted lawfully and appropriately, he added. How could the leading Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee betray Americans' trust and write something so false and deceptive? After the IG Horowitz report release, Schiff has said that he was unaware of much of the information contained in it. Right. But Schiff's job on the Intelligence Committee was and is to perform oversight of those institutions. It's more like obstruction of justice, isn't it? Instead, he went along with the cover-up even as the chairman of the committee at the time was uncovering abuse that Horowitz would confirm in greater and more alarming detail. This is why it is so alarming that the media continues to treat Schiff with any credibility. The media ran with his lies and their own credibility suffered for it. So why do so many reporters still continue to accept his lies to this day? Because the journalism schools are leftists. The schools are leftist. The colleges are leftist. Even Christian colleges are becoming more and more leftist and progressive. Schiff promoted the fake Clinton-funded Steele dossier as credible and corroborated, even though it was full of inaccuracies, embellishments, and lies. Schiff did countless TV interviews complaining there was ample evidence of collusion before the Mueller report found no such evidence existed. Schiff lied about his staff's collusion with a fake whistleblower from the CIA. Instead of facing consequences for his well-documented record of lies and deception, Adam Schiff was promoted by Nancy Pelosi to be her personal impeachment manager and is at this very moment presenting his latest evidence to the United States Senate. And why? Because obstruction of justice is now to stop all the Democrats from being arrested, indicted, charged, and convicted of all their treasonous things. That's what it's all about. And the last thing they got to do, they try to do, because they already know they're going to lose in 2020. God has made his mark. He's going to bring in Donald Trump. They have to try and impeach him. And that's the only way to get rid of him, you see, so that they don't have to go to prison. But it's not going to happen. Let's move to the next story. Here we go, happening tomorrow. Rudy Giuliani begin revealing top-level Democrats making millions of dollars selling their public office. That wouldn't be considered pay for play, would it? President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, dropped a bomb Thursday morning, warning that he is going to start revealing documents related to the Biden's family corrupt and criminal dealings in the Ukraine and elsewhere around the world. Remember, the Democrats put an investigation on him? Yeah. And try to take him down? Who's the honey bear? Who's the one who's going to come out and fight? Oh, it's Rudy Giuliani, who made New York great when he was a mayor. Everything I tried to tell the press last March is now coming out and more, and I will now start to reveal the evidence directly to you, the people. The Biden family enterprise made millions by selling public office. Then when was Obama's point man, they all made millions. Later Thursday evening, Rudy revealed that he's going to start hitting the swamp tomorrow and unleash on top-level Democrats who sold their public office for millions of dollars. Rudy also said Democratic officials conspired with foreign officials to destroy the Trump candidacy. Starting tomorrow, we will begin cracking through the swamp's media cover-up of top-level Democrats selling their public office, resulting in multi-millions in Ukraine and the conspired attempt with foreign officials to destroy the Trump candidacy. Follow the money, Rudy said. Everywhere Biden, Obama's point man, went, the Biden family enterprise made millions. Yes, millions. Secret Empires author Peter Schweizer wrote a new book titled Profiles in Corruption, Abuse of Power by America's Progressive Elite, and one slimy lifelong politician, Joe Biden, emerges as the king of sweetheart deals, Schweizer said. According to Schweizer, Hunter Biden wasn't the only family member who made millions off of his political connections. 5 members of Joe Biden's family enriched themselves because of Joe Biden's lifelong career in politics, and Schweizer's outlined his new book in the New York Post article shortly before its launch date. Joe Biden's younger brother, James Biden, often frequented the White House when old Crooked Joe was vice president, and a construction management company he was affiliated with, Hillstone International, flourished. James Biden was made vice president of Hillstone despite having zero experience in the field, and next thing you know, the firm was part of a $35 billion project to build homes in Iraq. Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, made millions of dollars sitting on the board of Mariza Holdings, a Ukrainian natural gas company, despite having zero knowledge in the field. Hunter Biden took a ride with Daddy Joe in Air Force Two to Beijing, and less than 2 weeks later, Hunter secured $1.5 billion from the Bank of China for the new firm Rosemont Seneca, partnered with Bohai Harvests. Joe Biden's other brother, Frank Biden, was flown to Costa Rica on Air Force Two in 2009, where he was busy wheeling and dealing a huge real estate deal and other hustles, despite zero experience in the field. You know, let me just stop there. I have a question for Joe Biden's wife and Hunter Biden's mom. What do you have to say about Hunter Biden being a total deadbeat father with baby mama Lundgren and pretending that he is bankrupt when he's renting out a $12,000 a month place in, I think it's in Beverly Hills or so, over there in Los Angeles? Tell me, how do you feel about that, Mrs. Biden? How come you haven't said a thing? Because you are just as corrupt. You could care less about babies, deadbeat fathers, as your son is. You are just as wicked as both your husband and son. We will continue. I'll let you read the rest of that long. Professor Turley rips Dems' impeachment process will go down as one of the greatest historic blunders of a House of Congress. Very, very true. Highly respected constitutional law expert and Professor Jonathan Turley ripped the House Democrats on Thursday during an appearance on CBS. House is completely unmoored by history and by the law, Turley said. I think that this will go down as one of the greatest historic blunders of the House of Congress, he added. Jonathan Turley is a liberal Democrat, testified during the House impeachment hearings. Professor Turley made clear that this impeachment not only fails to satisfy the standard of past impeachments, but would create a dangerous precedent for future impeachments. He also accused the Democrats of abusing power. But wait a minute, the Democrats' article of impeachment of Trump is abuse of power. The abuse of power is that he disagrees. His abuse of power, he made America great again, and we're trying to destroy it. His obstruction of Congress is that it's actually separation of powers and it's constitutional. So both of them are hoaxes. The whole thing is a sham. No proof of abuse of power. They they keep saying it over and over. That's all they do. No proof and no description. Boom, Marsha Blackburn doubles down. Vindman has a problem with judgment. Political activist in a uniform goes out of chain of command. Very, very true and spot on by Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican of Tennessee, who tweeted out a direct hit on the CIA whistleblower's handler, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman. Vindman admitted during testimony in November that he went around his chain of command to undermine the Trump administration. Vindman also confessed that he told Ukrainian President Zelensky to stay out of U.S. politics during his trip there in April. Oh, do you think that was your job to say to the president of Ukraine? Oh, I think you just violated the Logan Act as well. Vindman did not tell his superiors about this message to the Ukrainian leader. Senator Blackburn bashed the anti-Trump activist Vindman on Twitter on Thursday. Vindman's commander officer, Army Lieutenant Colonel Jim Hickman, do not let the uniform fool you. He is a political activist in uniform. Of course, this was an outrageous act. According to the liberal media and politicos, Rogue anti-Trump military professionals should never be condemned, especially when they are actively working to remove Trump from office. And so Senator Blackburn says, here's the thing. If you look at what Vindman's commanders have said, he has a problem with judgment that has been pointed out. He had one commander who said he is a political activist in uniform. He has had problems with going outside his chain of command, which is actually what he did there. And I talk to a lot of military members on a regular basis. They have a real problem with some of the things and the manner in which he conducted himself. Oh, Vindman. Americans tune out shift sham impeachment ratings plunged by 20% after the first day. Listen to this one. The impeachment sham is a ratings dud. Now, what's even more important is comparing it to other things. Democrats came to the Senate floor this week to deliver their sorry case against President Trump, and nobody cares. After 3 years of constant attacks against President Trump, Americans have tuned out of the unhinged party. Enough. Viewership dropped 20% on Wednesday after Tuesday's late night snooze fest. Ratings show Americans don't care about the impeachment trial enough to watch it. I'm playing a game on my phone right now. Please. Within the Senate chamber, lawmakers were doing their best to endure the long hours of the Trump impeachment trial's first 2 days, bringing crossword puzzles, falling asleep, and flaunting the no electronics rule by communicating on smart watches. At home, Americans haven't sought these distractions because the public is just not tuning in. According to TV ratings for the first 2 days of the trial, the 6 news networks covering Trump's impeachment average a little over 11 million viewers, combined with Fox News leading the pack with some 2.6 million on their channel from 12:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Let's just get this straight right now. 11 million viewers combined on TV. That's 1/33 of the American public, which is about 333 million people. Right? Oh, okay. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I think I'm right on that. Yeah. About 1 out of 30 people in America have watched it so far. Compared to other televised political moments of historical importance, it's a fairly weak showing. In 2018, the testimony of Christine Blasey Ford and Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh drew an audience of 20.4 million on the 6 broadcast networks. In 2018, the midterms also pulled in a substantial 36.1 million, a greater audience than the 4 previous midterms. And though it may not be totally fair to compare the impeachment trial to the last presidential election, the 2016 Motherlode event drew an audience of 71 million, about 7 times what this. In other words, the election of Trump brought in 7 times more people than the impeachment trial of Trump, 11 million. How about that one? What does that tell you the American people are telling you? We know it ain't gonna work. Impeachment is driving us. Here's some really good news. 1,000 Republican candidates to run for House seats this year, destroying the Democrat Party one day at a time. Hundreds of Americans have been inspired to run for Congress as Republicans this year, most because they are outraged by the Democrats are doing with impeachment. Taking control of the House will be numbers game, and with this many people running, the odds are very good. The Washington Examiner reported impeachment drives 1,000 GOP candidates to run for office. Pennsylvania James Bognet had been around local and presidential politics for a long time before landing a dream job as a senior vice president at the Export-Import Bank of the United States. I was really honored. Now, we will let you read the rest of this, but it is amazing. We are going to flip the House for the first time in a 2-year presidential cycle. Tom Emmer running for a GOP in the House. Democrats deserve to lose the House. Since taking control, they have ignored the people's business in favor of chasing their obsession by ousting Trump and stopping to make America great again. Resist. Huge. Mueller's convictions in question after FISA Court admits at least 2 spy warrants against Carter Page were not valid. The FISC admitted in a secret order we already reported. James Boasberg wrote in a January 7th order, which was not declassified and released until Thursday, that the last 2 FISA warrants on Carter Page dated April 7th and June 29th of 2017 were not valid. Now notice also once again that they were not even declassified. Wait till they're declassified. And wait till more come out. This is getting big. And so what is this going to do to Robert Mueller's investigation? It's going to fall like dominoes. I'm telling you, it's coming. Mueller's wonderful career as a stellar prosecutor and FBI director is all going to come down. Pardon me for a coffee break. Did Robert Mueller actually use information gathered in real time by the illegal wiretaps on Carter Page? Oh, yes. If so, this could pose a huge problem for the Mueller's cases against Trump officials because the wiretaps are now officially invalid. Oh, yes. I'll let you read the rest of that wonderful article. Horror unconfirmed videos from Wuhan show people dying in the street, dropping and dying in the hospital. China has confirmed over 600 cases of the deadly virus. I forgot how you pronounce that. Canoro. Anyway, Canoro virus. Reported in over a dozen deaths. The epicenter of the virus is in Wuhan, a Chinese city of 11 million people. Wuhan shut down its public transport due to the crisis. There are several videos allegedly from Wuhan that show people dead on the street. You got to check this out. It's just one and after another. It's just amazing. Remember, these are unconfirmed videos, but there's 6 of them. Tell me if you think that they are unconfirmed. Tell me if you think that they need to be confirmed.
做完可你到了啊！你说七里苗啊，七里苗车站那里。
All right. And there's this one.
心肺复苏好像是。
He's on the ground
有
there.
人直接倒了，正在抢救，心肺复苏。
Then there's this one.
恐不恐慌？严不严重？看你们还戴不戴口罩？都当是小事。
This one's still moving.
可能是现在武汉市是个么情况
I mean, he cannot have the coronavirus, right? I mean, they're loaded up in material. Of course he has it.
都当是小事。可能是现在武汉市是个么情况？到了。
No, he doesn't have the coronavirus. We just have all of these masks on for no reason. That's the same one here. Then there's this one outside. Looks like he's bleeding too. And then there's this one. Dead as the doornail, looks like to me. Yep, things are looking really bad. I gotta find my place, folks. All right. Moving on, Ted Cruz has something to say about the Democrats. Ted Cruz, Dems threw Biden under the bus. bring our volume down here. By focusing on Burisma's very odd strategic decision. Let's just take a listen from Ted Cruz.
Adam Schiff's arguments to open House managers made a very serious strategic error today. Adam Schiff's arguments to open the day today directly drew into question Hunter Biden and made not only his testimony relevant, which it already was, but it is now critical because the House Democrats have built their entire case on the proposition that any investigation into Burisma and corruption was a sham, that it was completely debunked. The problem is there is very significant prima facie evidence of corruption. Hunter Biden, the son of the then sitting president, Joe Biden, was being paid $83,000 a month, $1 million a year. This is someone with no background in oil and gas, no experience. And at the same time, Joe Biden has publicly admitted that he threatened Ukraine. He withheld or threatened to withhold $1 billion of aid unless and until Ukraine fired the prosecutor that was potentially investigating the company on which his son served on the board. If the House manager's case is based on the allegations of corruption concerning Hunter Biden and Joe Biden being a sham, then it is directly relevant. And I got to say, the need for the Senate to hear the testimony of Hunter Biden and the need for the Senate to grant the White House lawyers the ability to take that testimony has become all the more relevant. One last observation. Yesterday, Representative Nadler threw up great indignation, and he said, out of hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian companies, how can it be that President Trump was just concerned with this one company, Burisma? Well, the obvious answer that the House managers ignore is Burisma was the only Ukrainian company that had the son of the vice president that had real prima facie indications of American corruption. We're not talking about some abstract interest in any sort of corruption that might exist in Ukraine, but if you have a sitting vice president making public policy decisions to benefit his family to the tune of $1 million a year, that raises a serious question of corruption, and a president not only is justified in asking for that to be investigated, but has a responsibility to see that that's investigated. And that was a question not about Ukrainian corruption, but a question about American corruption, and Ukraine being integral in helping investigate whether there was, in fact, American corruption. I think.
All right. So you notice how he brings up the idea that Nadler, he's negating the idea that it's not Ukrainian corruption, but American corruption with Joe Biden and his son Hunter. But the biggest thing here is to realize that the corruption, that's not really what the Democrats are saying. The Democrats are saying that you are investigating a future candidate, Joe Biden, and trying to take him down for the 2020 election, aren't they? You see? So the mainstream idea is they're blaming Trump for that one. And so they're trying to blame him for meddling in the 2020 election, when actually it's an investigation asking, not coercing, not quid pro quo whatsoever, President Zelensky to look into it. And Zelensky admitted there was no pay for play, quid pro quo, or anything himself. And that Democrat politicians are lying, says the Ukrainian officials. And so it goes from Trump asking to investigate political corruption here in America to Trump is meddling in the 2020 election because he's trying to take down his competitor. That's what they do. That's what the Democrat Party does day in and day out with their sick, twisted thoughts. Then we move to Iran. The Iran roundup, very big here, for January 18th through 23rd. Masked gunmen gunned down IRGC commander and U.S. deports son of corrupt communist official. Basij commander involved in killing Iranian protesters killed by masked gunmen. It sounds like justice has been paid for Abdul Hossein Majadami, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. Basij militia in the municipality of Darkhoven, located in the southwestern province of Khuzestan, was shot dead outside his home by two masked gunmen on Wednesday the 22nd. No one has claimed responsibility for the killing as of yet. You notice that it's not about ISIS. See, ISIS is going to claim responsibility if it's them, right? But you see, the good people who have shot dead a wicked person who's killed over 1,500 people at least, they're not going to claim it. Of course not. They're not a bunch of nutballs supported by the poopy pope. According to reports, Majadami was a close associate of the late Quds Force Commander Qasem Soleimani and had been involved in massacring Iranian protesters during the November crackdown that saw at least 1,500 Iranians murdered. Another good man bites the dust. Khuzestan has been a scene of constant unrest for over 2 years as the province is best with poverty and environmental degradation caused by regime policies. Then there's the son of corrupt communist official deported from the USA. Communist regime corrupt official Kamal Deghani, Cruz body, and his son Mohammed Shabab Deghani, who was deported by ICE. Trump making America great again, one day at a time. Wow, they're trying to impeach him. But the fake sham impeachment trial is not going to stop the Trump locomotive from making America great again. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, deported Mohammed Shahab Deghani, the 24-year-old son of a high-ranking communist regime official, to stop terrorism in America. We're going to make America great, and we're going to make it safe. From Boston on January 21st, 2 days after he arrived at the Logan airport and had been immediately detained. This action occurred 4 months after President Trump banned relatives of communist regime officials from visiting or immigrating to the U.S. Deghani's father, Kamal, and now we will zoom on down here. They were accused of embezzlement, all kinds of stuff, hating America, democracy activists. But check this out down here. Here they are protesting, and here's, I think that's him right there, and then also his son, I think, is right here. But okay, but I want to show you, and look at all the people that are happy about it. Probably from Iran too, who knows. I mean, these are Iranians that are happy about it. Okay, check this out. Down here, I wanted to show you something. It's very long. All kinds of good news. See, like I said, it's very long, but we have to scroll to the... Well, for some reason, we're having problems. It's not scrolling to the bottom. Let me reload the page. There we go. It's still not going to the bottom. I don't know what's going on with Gateway Pundit. But anyway, it's somewhere in this very, very long report, it talks about how Obama gave them I think it was 1,500 green cards for Iranian Islamic terrorists to come in and become citizens. Well, green cards. Yeah, that's what he did. Somewhere in here it says it. So I just want you to know that's what Obama did. And I never forget how God showed me the first day I saw Obama running for president in 2008. Yeah. How I saw him running for president. I said, that's an Islamic terrorist. Why would we let him into the White House? That's what God said to me. So I can't get to the bottom of this report. It just doesn't want to work. There's something wrong with Gateway Pundit. But anyway, I wanted to show you what Red State Watcher has to say. Senator Rand Paul says Republicans are close to having majority needed to dismiss articles of impeachment. That's right. Republicans hold a 53 to 47 majority in the Senate, which is hearing arguments for removing Trump from office, and they are very close to getting their 51 votes. Remember, they only really need 50 because Mike Pence can throw in another vote and make it the majority of 51. See? So I guess they're right around 48 or 49 or 50 right now, somewhere around 48 or 49. I'm guessing on that, of course. How about this one? Seattle shooting suspects Marquis Tolber, William Ray Tolliver have 65 arrests, 35 convictions between them. They're good people though, huh? There was a mass shooting in Seattle yesterday that hasn't received a lot of attention from mainstream media, Democrats, gun control activists, or Democrats in general. The reason for this is clear. It doesn't have the right narratives or check any of the right boxes for the breathless outrage that normally follows a mass shooting. There was a mass shooting in Seattle. The suspects each had warrants for their arrest even before the shooting. Why has this bloody, disturbing mass shooting barely cracked into the national news cycle? Why? Because they want to take away your Second Amendment rights, to take away your guns. So they're using their nutballs to kill people and as a narrative to take away your guns. Gun control advocates refuse to believe gun-free zones don't work. Gun control advocates do not like stories proving that gun control doesn't work. See, they not only let these murderous animals on the street, but they refuse to go arrest them, and they control the police and the mayors and everything to stop them from being arrested. So they will do these mass murders, and so they can try and take away your guns of the duly elected people because they want a mass insurrection. That's what it's all about, folks. Third and Pine update, detectives have identified 2 suspects in yesterday's shooting. Tolbert, age 24, 6'1", 200 pounds, and Tolliver, age 24, 6 foot, 145 pounds. Both men are considered armed and dangerous. 6 foot, 145 pounds. Ooh, man, is he skinny. Senator Graham, proving he is a rhino again, says, I don't think Joe Biden's corrupt, but I don't think he's beyond being looked at. Told you, he never stops, does he?
But as to the Bidens, I can promise you, no one has looked at...
You can promise? Your promise is about as good as dirt.
...whether or not there was a conflict of interest, and no one has taken the time to explain how Hunter Biden got rich in the Ukraine and his father didn't know anything about it.
But I think he's not corrupt. That's what he's going to say in a minute.
Nobody has looked at whether or not when the prosecutor was fired, the next prosecutor refused, dropped the case on Burisma. Somebody needs to look at it. As much as I like...
Isn't this funny that he brings up all these facts and then that somebody needs to look at it? He's making a good case for they're corrupt. Then he says they're not corrupt?
Joe Biden, if it were Lindsey Graham or Mike Pence or Donald Trump, you would be looking.
Is Joe Biden corrupt? Is Joe Biden?
No, I don't think Joe...
That's a lie. If it was Lindsey Graham, they would be looking. You haven't pulled any witness for the Trump administration sham impeachment trial prior to it going to the Senate. You're a big fat liar.
Joe Biden's corrupt, but I don't think he's beyond being looked
look at
at.
that. Look at that.
But I don't think he's beyond being looked at.
Joe Biden corrupt? Is Joe Biden?
No, I don't think.
Is Joe Biden corrupt?
Is Joe Biden corrupt? Is Joe Biden?
No, I don't think Joe Biden's corrupt.
Can you believe he just said that after he just told you all those facts about Joe Biden and his son?
But I don't think he's beyond being looked at. Here's
What a full of crap dude. This guy is so full of crap. It's amazing. He's sickening. And how about another full of crap man? Governor Newsom deploys FEMA trailers to LA as part of a $750 million homeless executive order. This guy is on, I mean, he's like a locomotive train to try and ruin California. They want him repealed, impeached too. There's a big thing about that. Excerpts from the article. On Wednesday, California Governor Gavin Newsom began rolling out what he's calling accelerated state action on homelessness. Newsom announced 30 state-owned FEMA trailers, pardon me, are heading to Los Angeles County to serve as emergency shelters. The move came as part of Newsom's $750 million executive order, which was issued earlier this month to combat homelessness. I got news for you. You know what's going to happen with a lot of these people who are mainly drug addicts? They're gonna destroy these trailers and live in and out of them and do what they want because they're drug addicts. Most of them are drug addicts. They have half brains. Many of them. Many of them are sick in the brain. They have all kinds of mental illnesses. They're not going to even use these trailers as what they should be used for. They're very sick. They're not bringing their best, from across the border. Newsom, the move came as part of Newsom's $750 million executive order, which was issued earlier this month to combat homelessness. Newsom fired back, saying he is also investing money in medical for better mental health care. We got to own up to this in a way we haven't in the past. We've done good work to support our social service safety net. That has now changed. We have a plan. Right. You keep letting people in across the border as much as possible, and giving them money, giving them free health care, and letting them, and then taking away all the laws to live on the street. It's not against the law to live on the street, to commit crimes of theft in San Francisco. There is no crime. Basically, there's no law. It's lawlessness now in San Francisco. You can rip off anything and you're not even arrested. That's right. I'm not kidding. Look into it. It's amazing what they are doing in San Francisco and California. On track to destroy California. And then there's Facebook, Amazon, and Apple set records in annual spending on lobbying. Why? Because they have to protect their discrimination against conservatives and breaking the First Amendment. By Facebook Incorporated, Amazon Incorporated, and Apple spent record amounts on lobbying in 2019, with Mark Zuckerberg's social media company leading the so-called FANG companies and outlays aimed at influencing Washington. According to disclosures filed late Tuesday, Facebook shelled out $16 million last year, well above its 2018 total of $12.6 million. As the conservative blocking and banning continue and get worse and worse, they have to shell out more and more money for lobbying for their people. It's all a sham, the political world, isn't it? Corruption. The love of money is the root of all evil. And the University of Minnesota student jailed in China for tweets critical of government. Oh, maybe you might understand what freedom is here in America now, huh? What's happening? Senator Ben Sasse called on China to release the student. This is what ruthless and paranoid totalitarianism looks like, said Sasse. Really? I thought you called Donald Trump. Well, not Sass, but I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. I thought Ben Sass was a Democrat. But the Democrats called Donald Trump a totalitarian, a dictator, abuse of power, a racist. Chinese police detained 20-year-old Lu Daquing in July of 2019 in Wuhan, his hometown, where the liberal arts student had returned after the end of the spring semester. That was a bad choice, Lu. Very bad choice. Look at this one. There's Mao, not Mao Zedong, but Xi Jinping looking like I guess Buddha from Star Trek. It's not Buddha, but Hubba or something like that. Anyway, Sanders tops 2020 Democrat field in New Hampshire poll. Now, Trump has already been talking about this, how the Democrats are throwing Sanders under the rug, right? They're going to destroy him. This is funny because he's risen to the top now. This is my spiritual understanding of all this. The Democrats who really run it are going to destroy Sanders, but it's God's will because God doesn't want no stupid socialists in the White House. No, after the rapture, all hell will break loose. That's a totally different story. But right now, that ain't going to happen. No. Trump's going to be elected, and God is using the reprobates in the Democrat Party to destroy Sanders. And Trump keeps bringing it out, too. And, of course, Sanders would have no chance in a debate against Trump, for running, in the debates at the very end before the election of 2020. He wouldn't have no chance. But Senator has jumped out to a substantial lead over his 2020 Democratic primary opponents in New Hampshire, according to a new WBUR News survey focused on the early primary state. Sanders, Biden, Buttigieg, and Warren have positioned themselves in the top tier of the 2020 Democratic primary field. It was Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, but she really fell. A CNN national poll released on Wednesday showed that Sanders and Biden were in a statistical tie atop the primary field. A Des Moines Register CNN poll released on January 10th showed that Sanders had emerged as the leader in Iowa. Tensions between the Biden and Sanders campaigns have escalated in recent weeks as Sanders has increasingly criticized the former vice president's record on matters related to foreign policy and Social Security. So, there you go. That's all we have for today's news. I want to thank you for joining me, and may the Lord bless.